Hi everyone, welcome to the Icehouse podcast. I'm really excited about today's recording. We are sitting down with Steph Fry. She is the founder and owner of IdealCup, and we're talking about her business journey, what IdealCup is all about, and her experience through the Icehouse community and our Owner Manager Programme. So thanks, Steph. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Bryar. It's wonderful to be here. I couldn't even get my words out. I'm excited.
Well, you're just a bundle of energy, and I'm really excited to just jump straight into it with the first question, which is introduce yourself and your business, IdealCup.
Sure. Well, it's short and sweet. I am the co-owner with my husband, Nick, of IdealCup. We're New Zealand's very first reusable cup that's been designed and made right here in Aotearoa.
Awesome. How great is that? That's so cool. And when was your aha moment for IdealCup?
Well, I get asked that a lot. And the funny thing is, it was a long time ago before sustainability was really even on most people's radars, when we had our coffee business, which we still have actually. We started in 2004 in Wellington, and in 2008 we became carbon neutral because we were on the sustainability path with the coffee business. We wanted to shake up the industry a bit, and part of our DNA of that was to choose sustainable options as much as possible. And as part of the carbon neutrality, we had to do an audit, and part of that was a waste audit. And of course, you can imagine the results of the cups to landfill. The cups we were using ourselves and the cups we were selling to our customers. So we decided that perhaps that was a part of the business that we could look to change for the better good. And so Nick actually decided that we should look at a reusable cup option. So at the time in 2008-ish, we looked at the market to see if there was something we could buy that we could on-sell, and we weren't satisfied with what was out there. There was only a few options and they were cheap and they didn't look like they'd last the distance. And it kind of defeated the purpose of what we were wanting to achieve, which is providing a reusable solution that was going to last the distance to eliminate single use. So entrepreneurial spirit kicked in, and we decided that we'd make our own product. And so when I'm introduced as an entrepreneur and the brains behind IdealCup, I have to pass that mantle to my husband because it's actually his baby. But together we have grown the business, and it's our thing now. Nick developed IdealCup back in about 2010. We came to life as a proper product, and we officially launched into the market early 2012. And so that's how we came about.
Amazing. That's so exciting. And it's just something I'm so passionate about too. So I've been looking forward to doing this recording because
that's cool. Thank you.
It's just so important. And like you said, looking at different, little ways of starting somewhere, and how you can be more sustainable in your business. And that's where it started, being actually a business owner yourself and realizing the need. I think that's amazing stuff.
Absolutely. And I mean, oftentimes that happens, right? You start with one thing and it leads you down a path that opens up other doors. And and it's really thrilling that all these years on, we've now got two separate independent businesses, and IdealCup stands in its own right and has developed into something pretty awesome, if I'm being fair myself.
Yep, I can agree with that. What drives you to get up in the morning?
Well, I love life, and I love to be up and getting amongst it. To be fair, though, I'm not an early morning person. I always liken myself to the saying, not to him, but to the saying that Winston Churchill used to say, I do my best work between 10 and 2. So don't wake me earlier than that and leave me alone after that type thing. I'm a bit like that. I function well between probably 9 and 6 are my key hours. So I'm motivated by life. I'm motivated by opportunities to do more and do better, and to just see some change happening out there in terms of reuse and sustainability. And I just love the fact that I've got my own businesses and I get to choose my own destiny every day.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so inspiring. And I think this is a good time for me to introduce my IdealCup.
Hey.
This is the ones we got through the Icehouse, which is really cool. And I genuinely do use it every day in the office and when I'm out and about. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. It's great. It's, it's it's so inspiring when we know that people are actually not just receiving one, but they're actually using it. And
yeah,
so that's up to you.
Yeah, definitely. So no, that's awesome. Cool. So how did you hear about the Icehouse and the Owner Manager Program? So for context, you were on Owner Manager 43, I've got here, which was in 2018.
I know.
How did that all...
long ago.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. How did that all come about?
A couple of years before then, the lovely Gareth Bayliss from Icehouse had been stalking me.
Shout out to Gareth.
Yeah, he does his job very well. I had heard about Icehouse through, business networks, and I was always in awe of it, thinking it was this untouchable thing. Gareth started to chip away at me, but the timing wasn't right. The business wasn't where I wanted it to be, and things weren't just quite ready. Yeah. And then in, I think, late 2017, Gareth came back and he said, look, this time I'm not taking no for an answer this time. You need to do this. We want you. And it was genuine, it wasn't a sales pitch. He really felt that now was the time. And what was even better was he gave me an opportunity to speak with Liz, one of the directors, to really get a sense of things, to really understand what the opportunity was, but also for Icehouse to get to understand who I was and whether it was the right fit. So Gareth worked his magic. I was very fortunate to receive the scholarship that year, which really helped, because obviously it's an investment, but I would pay it again at full price without question. Yeah, and so once I was confirmed, there was no stopping me, and that's how my Icehouse journey began.
Yeah, that's so special. That's amazing. And through Owner Manager Program, sum up your experience.
Do you have an hour or two? Honestly, I still feel, and I've said this to other people even just recently, I still feel like it was yesterday. I still feel as impassioned and excited about it as I did when I was on it. I have FOMO every time I see any social media posts of other people doing their OMPs. I've got a local business guy here where I live who's on it at the moment, and he comes in to get a coffee each day, and I'm like, no, don't. I want to be there again. So that's the emotional side. I also said to someone recently, I don't know if we would have got through COVID with our businesses if it wasn't for what I learned and the journey I had with Icehouse and OMP. And I don't say that lightly. I think that there's so much that has been embedded into my personal psyche and my business acumen that without that, I wouldn't have had the wherewithal and the knowledge and the strength and the resilience and the capability to have got through what we went through last year, because even with all of that, we still had some serious mental breakdown issues, as a lot of people did. I talk quite openly about that now, because I really applaud people who are prepared to be open and honest about how they dealt with COVID and how they deal with mental health and well-being. It's such a huge thing that we don't talk about enough. And we did hit rock bottom last year, even as a couple in business. But I think, having each other to lean on, and then having the learnings that I had from OMP, which remain with me today and have embedded into my everyday, is just beyond powerful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And also the people that I met on Icehouse OMP, Owner Manager Programme, the group of people who are still very much part of my very close friends and family, I call them. We're in constant contact. We support each other, good, bad, ugly. We are there for each other, and it's been so powerful.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad you said that, because I was about to say, the Icehouse is just so human, and I think that's what I'm loving seeing, is that these business owners come on program, and they come into the fold of the community, and they realize that you can breathe, you can be human, like we're all in this, like the business owners are all in the same boat and have the same pain points and challenges and wins. And
yes, and that's the thing. So often you read about courses or experiences, and you just think, I came from a corporate background before I decided with Nick, before we decided to go into business on our own, and I've been on a million courses, I've run courses and everything, and yes, they're valuable, but this is something completely different. It's extraordinary. It's I don't know how David Irving and the likes created such, well, no, actually I do, because if you know David and you know his background, you can see where it's come from. But there's something very, very special about Icehouse.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's amazing. That's so, so cool. What surprised you most about your OMP experience?
What surprised me most?
Yeah.
Probably the things, well, probably ironically, one of the things that really surprised me was how much I enjoyed embracing the finances.
Interesting.
Because it's not, cool. It had never been something I was up for. I always push that to Nick. He's very pragmatic, process driven. He's got an accounting degree. He's that whole thing. Whereas I'm, a bit of a Pollyanna. I'm the face of the business, sales, marketing, and just rah. So of course, when there was going to be a block that had this big focus on finances, I was like, ugh, yawn. But I thought, no, I'm here to learn, and maybe this is going to be different. And I tell you what, the quality of not only what we were taught, but the people that teach it to you is testament to how incredibly powerful Owner Manager Program is, because I had a man there teaching me about finances and money and stuff that I would normally just run for the hills away from. And by the end of the first session with him, I put my hand up and said, yes, Steph. And I said, I just want to say, I'm really enjoying this. And, and it changed my whole view on the finances and the importance of really embracing them and enjoying them. And that was a real surprise to me. That was one that really stands out. I also think that one of the things that I was very apprehensive going into Icehouse for the reason that I knew my business was a smaller business than most of the people that were going to be on there. I mean, I had Juliette Hogan, the fashion designer, on my OMP, and I'm like in awe, fangirling and thinking, oh my God, and then this little old me. But, and I got there feeling a bit insecure and vulnerable. And I realized really, really quickly that everyone in that room had some sort of insecurity and vulnerability. And that's why we were all there, right? So that was a real pleasant surprise that very quickly that ice was broken, and it was like, oh, yeah, no, they don't care what I've come from and what my turnover is. We're all here to learn something to make us better business people and better humans.
Yeah, I love that. And most people do say that, like they turn up, it's sort of like the first day of school or something, like it's just like terrifying. and then you're like, oh, hold on. Yeah, we're in this together, which is amazing to hear. That's great. From the program, what changes have you implemented into your business, but also your lifestyle since completing Owner Manager Program?
I think one of the key things for me, for the business is my leadership. I've always felt that I'm a natural leader of sorts, but I've really been able to nurture that and hone that, and it's become second nature now. And I really feel like I have, if I blow my own trumpet, it really helped me learn to really immerse myself in the people that are around me, and to to look in the mirror and not look out the window. And I reflect on that all the time, and the importance of looking after the people that are on your journey with you. And, for me, that's a really exciting thing to feel that in your core, that you're someone that people want to be around because you're giving them what they need and they're giving you what you need. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
And in my personal life, the resilience thing, we did the block on resilience, and again, kind of like the numbers, I was like, I've read about resilience, and oh my God, you have no idea really until you are in a room with someone that is, the word expert's thrown around all the time. I don't even want to say that. Declan, who did the resilience part of the program, I'm not sure if he's still doing that, but oh my God, he just human to human, and just not telling us, but just showing us how much strength can be gained from appreciating and understanding your ability to deal with things, and how to use that to be resilient in so many different situations. And that has helped me immensely in business, but probably more in my personal life, because, you know, we all have massive challenges day to day as mums and wives and girlfriends and sisters and daughters and whatever, and sorry, men as well, but I'm talking from my perspective. And I think it's just, and look at COVID, you know, again, I wonder where I would be now if I hadn't had that resilience training and experience through Icehouse. I draw on it every day. I think about it all the time, but it's not something, I'm not reflecting back to it because I'm anxious or nervous. It's just that it's something so powerful that's there, and it just helps you deal with so much every single day.
And I love how you're sort of alluding to the fact that it's just so intertwined with how you do life now. It's not like a piece of paper or some lootings that you got to find out of your bottom drawer of some, you know, it's in here and it's stuck, which is like...
Because I remember that when I first finished Icehouse, like finished the complete course, and over the course of the next few months, I was always pulling my notebooks out and always reflecting back, and I think that's really cool. I wrote so many notes. I'm a note writer, I'm a list writer, and I love that, and I still look back on them now and get really excited to see what I've written and look at some little comments I've made to myself. But yeah, now it's just part of who I am, and it's another facet to my being, and it's something that I've been able to share with other people, and you know, it's made me a better person for me and for everyone else.
Oh, so inspiring. That's amazing. Thanks, Steph. Any learnings from others in your group? We talk about this whole idea of, you know, being human and just how special those cohorts really are, the 25 or 20 or so people that you actually do this program with. Were there any learnings you had from others?
I can't, off the top of my head, think of a specific one, but there was a generic theme, and it comes back to what I was saying before, that we're all vulnerable. And I think what I was shown by a number of people in our group, that I admired everyone and I got on with everyone. And there are certain people you get on with better and you gravitate more towards. But there was one person in particular, no names, but I was in awe of him, and I still am to this day. He's the most remarkable young man. He has a life story and everything, and he's just brilliant. And I was so inspired by him all the time. And then when after a year and a half, maybe even 2 years after we'd finished Icehouse OMP, we had a get together, as we do. We organised something in Auckland. We decided we'd have a bit of a refresher session, all of us around the table, and Liz came along and you know, helped us with that, and it was just fantastic. And we all got there, and this particular guy was not who I knew. He was quiet. He was not saying much. He seemed a bit, you know, something wasn't right, and we all picked up on it. But I felt that I had enough of a connection with him. I said, "Is there anything you want to share?" And he opened up and told us what had been happening in his life in the recent months. And the vulnerability was, I mean, it was awful what he'd been through. And I could see it, we could all see it in his eyes. He was in a really bad place. But having shared that with us over the course of that hour or so, we all took turns to talk, but we gave him as much time as he wanted. Afterwards, he came up to me and he said, thank you for drawing me out and giving me that opportunity and making me feel safe. And everything from that day on, I mean, he didn't say this, but you can see everything sort of turned on a dime and started incrementally going back in the right direction. And he's flying again. And I'm not saying I did that, but what I'm saying is everyone there was able to be vulnerable and able to be open and able to share, knowing they were safe and that it was in a format where they weren't going to be judged and that there wasn't going to be any questions asked. And that was so powerful. And that's what keeps us all so connected to this day, because, you know, you get the odd little Slack platform message or a text message from me, how are you going? I just noticed you made a comment on something. Are you all right? You know, and it's just incredible. It's like a whole extended family who totally gets the shit you're going through. Sorry, I had to swear.
That sums it up 100%. And I think even just, you know, him feeling like he could turn up there And that's a massive step in yourself when you're going through a hard time. But knowing these people will have my back, and then to open up, it just speaks to how powerful that cohort really is, which is awesome. Yeah.
Because I think also that day we noticed that he opened up, and then there and after, not on that day, but later on, other people started opening up about other things, and then people started making decisions about their situations that they'd been talking about a lot, but weren't comfortable sort of making it. But they're like, no, bugger it, I'm going to do it now, and with the safety of the group supporting them. And it's been amazing. It makes me, I get goosebumps when I talk about that, and it makes me really proud and quite emotional, but in a really good way.
Yeah, that's so cool. Even I'm sitting here getting a bit emotional, but I'm on the side of it, just being like, this is my job, like I get to talk with yourself, with inspiring business owners and people, and just see how that people to people connection, just how valuable it is. So yeah, it's really special. It so is.
It is. Yeah.
Any piece of advice that you'd tell owner manager in New Zealand of a small, medium business right now?
Just get on the bloody owner manager program. I tell you
what. I didn't pay you to say that, I promise.
No, I've not been paid 1 cent from the Icehouse for any of the endorsements I've given over the years. I do it from a place of genuine meaning, and I think that's testament to what I've been saying. I've signed up to things over the years where I've been excited and then I've felt let down, or I feel like, oh, that wasn't value for money. Or the owner manager program and the community of Icehouse and the experience and the ongoing connection that you have it's invaluable.
Yeah.
I said earlier, if you said to me, I mean, if I had the opportunity, I'd probably go on Icehouse OMP all over again and pay the money all over again. If what am I trying to say? It's just incredibly powerful, no matter what level you are in business. Some of the people on my OMP were $140 million turnover a year businesses, massive businesses.
Yeah.
And then there was mine. Now we had a massive scale, but so there's something to learn for everyone. So no matter where you think you are in your journey, I think that's the thing that Icehouse really proves to you, that there's always something to learn and always something to take out of a process like that, whether it's for your business or personally. But I tell you what, I don't think there would be one person who has done OMP in my group anyway, that would say they didn't get absolutely so much out of that program, no matter what level of business they were at. And, I went in there thinking I'd only get something out of the other people on the course, but I had my friends now, that came up to me even after the first couple of blocks and said, you know what, you're as much needed here as we are. In your mind, you think that maybe you're not, you shouldn't be here or whatever. No, we're learning from you, because we've all got something to give and we've all got something to receive. And, I hope that my words today are helpful to encourage people to really give it some serious thought, because the price is forgotten long after the learnings and the memories and the experience remain.
Yeah, sums it up amazingly. So thank you. What's your favourite thing? I like this question. What's your favourite thing about being involved in the Icehouse community?
Just, the love, the people, the absolute constant optimism and positivity that oozes out of Icehouse. But it's not false, it's not rah-rah, it's genuine passion, people that are there because they absolutely love what the community of Icehouse stands for and what it's there for. And it's a big hug every time you walk in that door. It's like, I feel like a celebrity. It's incredible. And just knowing that you're all there, and, the access to incredible tools and knowledge and people, and it's all there all the time. And, you might go months without even having to think, oh, I could maybe speak to someone at Icehouse, but it's always there. And it's like you've found a whole nother family.
Yeah, that's really cool. So good. Anything, this is a great question too. Was there anything you took from 2020? Tough year, really tough year, into 2021, putting a more positive spin on it?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of things. You know, for a long time in 2020, we were just dealing with getting through.
Yeah.
We were dealing with mental state of mind, and we were dealing with, first and foremost, our priority, looking after our people and making sure they had a future. But what 2020 showed me is, I started saying near the end of 2020, there's a silver lining to COVID. Now, hello, what? But yes, there are, because yes, we all went through some crappy stuff, and it's been horrible. And I don't want to play this down, because I know a lot of people have had really, really traumatic experiences, and it hasn't been easy at all. And it wasn't easy for us either. But I think from a business perspective, you've always got an opportunity to look for the silver lining. And for us, that was, right, well, we've got this time, we're 80% down on revenue, which was horrendous.
Yeah,
couldn't change that immediately. So what can we do in the meantime to move forward? And that was focus on some projects which we otherwise might have pushed around for the next 2 or 3 years. They're done now. They're launched. We've got we pushed the boat out, and we've done some stuff that we may not have got to. So that was something that was really powerful, and I'll reflect on that from here on in. That, at the worst, what feels like the worst time, there's always something positive that can come out of it. And I think that probably goes for me personally too, because as a human being, I'm naturally up. I'm an extrovert. When we did the Owner Manager Programme, at one point they get you to stand in a corner of the room as per your personality trait. And I was the only one in my corner, which I thought was a bit unfair. Someone was quite close by me. But and although I'm probably quite OTT to a lot of people, and I'm obviously extroverted, I still have a very introverted side to me, and I'm still very vulnerable at times. And I did have a bit of a mental breakdown last year, but in terms of who I normally am, and I've managed to adjust to my new normal, which I don't think we'll ever get back to who we were or what we were before COVID, but it's having the resilience, and there's that word again, to realize that that's okay. And this is the new version of, and this is the new way forward. And, if I hope other people can find that, and I think it comes more naturally to some than others, and people might look at me and say, oh yeah, but you're naturally upbeat, and say, yeah, but I can get really down just like the next person. Yeah. And it's just being able to recognize that we can only move forward with what we have and make the best of that.
Yeah, so true, and I'm sure lots of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. What does the future look like for IdealCup, and maybe even, if you want, touch on some of those things that those projects that are now launching, which is amazing.
Well, I'm really excited, because if you'd asked me this 6 months ago, I might not have been so excited. I might have said, we're still fighting back. And honestly, I was saying that a bit. I was a bit more honest with my responses to people than they probably wanted. But I think, again, that's about just telling the truth, telling your truth, rather than, hiding behind a facade, because it really helps you if you're open and honest. But yeah, we worked on these projects. One was the environmental choice certification that we gained for IdealCup. It sounds very boring, but essentially what it is in a nutshell, it's an endorsement from the New Zealand government that we're the most environmentally preferable product in New Zealand in our industry. We're the only reusable cup to have it. It's a massive undertaking. It was a 2-year project in total, but we managed to smash most of it out during the COVID time.
Yeah.
And essentially it's just kind of the icing on the cake for us, with our DNA of New Zealand made and product stewardship, ethical, our values and everything. It just kind of cements all of that and has that tick, if you will. And on a more basic level, it shows people that we are the best product available in the market, best in class. So that was a huge win, and it's really nicely against our we're a Buy New Zealand Made member, so just nice to be able to showcase that and for people to validate who we are without having to drill down and ask too many questions.
It's
massive. That's been exciting.
Congratulations on that. That's major. Yeah.
And I always say this, massive congrats and kudos to Nick, because he did all the grunt work. Yes, we did get our team. Yeah, go Nick. He's always behind the scenes, but I always like to recognise and applaud him because he does so much, but I tend to get the kudos because I'm the face of the business. So without Nick, we wouldn't be. And our team, because during lockdown there wasn't a lot people could be doing, so they all got stuck in helping Nick with what they could do with that as well, which some of it was very yawn, but it was for the greater good. And the other project that we worked on was so we've got our cup cycling cup swap model that we've had operating since 2017, essentially cup reuse model in cafes where people can borrow a cup and return it. And pre-COVID, at its peak, we had about 118 cafes around New Zealand who were operating cup cycling, and it was growing and it was going really well, and then COVID hit. So we thought, right, we can do something about that. We can't make cafes continue doing it. That's not how we roll. And people certainly were averse to reuse at that time. But as we've got to the point where we are now, people are starting to settle back in and it's all good. But we decided, right, now's the time to look at refining this model and make it better. So we spent some time, and we're literally in a couple of weeks launching our new app, which basically download the app, fill in your details, you scan the QR code when you borrow a cup, and you scan it when you return the cup. You don't pay any money, so it's free to use, and we give the cafes everything they need up front to operate the system, and they pay us one very small monthly membership fee, and that's it. And it's going to be so exciting. It's the first app in its kind, like for reuse systems in New Zealand. So once again, we're leading in our space. And we know our, I say competition, but our they're allies as well, because we're all doing it for the same reasons. We all want to reduce waste to landfill. They're working on their app, and there are other things coming too. But we've got we're a bit competitive. We like to try and be first because we've led this space when we launched IdealCup, and so it's kind of part of the journey and the excitement. So we're doing testing from next week, and then hopefully launching a couple of weeks after that. We've got a bunch of new cafes wanting to come on board, and we've got a couple of massive partnerships with cafe networks around New Zealand that will be coming on board too. So some really exciting stuff to look forward to, and to get the team all excited and buzzing again.
Congratulations. That is not an easy feat at all. It's terrifying, but so worth it, because great idea, and also something that's just on hand all the time. People always have a phone on them. It's easy to use, and so I hope and I know there'll be a lot of traction from that. So
thank you.
Well done,
the thing is, with the business we chose, and I had a chat with David Irving about this back at OMP. He said, your business is a bit flawed, Steph, because you've created a product that's so good, people won't need to replace it in their lifetime. Wow. And he said, there is definitely growth opportunity with the business, no question, and we're doing that. But it's ironic because most things are consumer products that you have to buy over and over and over, right? So we're kind of stifling ourselves in a way, because the next phase for us is to try and get people using the cup swap systems as commonplace, rather than buying and owning a cup, because we don't want to be making more things for the sake of it. We just want service systems so people can all share and borrow, and like a library scenario, and so we're cutting out more product and just using the same ones over and over again. So we're kind of finite in that regard, but then when you look at what's happening in the country and Australasia and even around the world, there's plenty of work to do. So I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, so the cafes on every end, they have your cups, is that right?
Yeah.
And as long as they're a certified cafe, they can scan them in and out.
Anywhere at any participating cafe, and we manage the fleet of cups, so they don't have to worry if someone takes one from theirs and returns it to another. We rebalance everything each month. So it's the way of the future, and it's the only way for us, with everything, food containers, cups, everything, to move to those sorts of models. And we've got a long way to go. We've been in the space for a long time, but it's really only been highlighted in the last 2 or 3 years. So we'll keep fighting on and doing what we're doing, and there's some other products in the pipeline too, which will marry up with what we're already doing. And watch this space.
Watch this space, people. That is so exciting. And I like it. Like, it makes sense, instead of just making more and more and more, using what you've got in a really efficient way. That is the future. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, how can we, all of the listeners and those at the Icehouse, how can we support you?
Well, I mean, the Icehouse supports me, no question anyway. Yeah, you're there in my heart, you're there in my mind, and I know you're there when I need something tangible. So keep just doing what you're doing. In terms of you humans at the Icehouse and anyone listening to this, all I ask is go out there and demand change. Go out there and ask your favorite cafe, like, are you going to start doing cup swap system, or are you going to get some reusable cups? It's like when you want to see a new product at the supermarket. You want to buy that new biscuit that you've heard about. It's no point asking the biscuit maker if they can get it in the supermarket. You need to go to the supermarket and demand they stock it. So the only way we're going to make change is ask, put the pressure on, and in a nice way, and use your feet, vote with your feet. If that cafe is not interested and not prepared, go somewhere that is, because eventually that cafe will have to come on board because of peer pressure. And we've got such a voice and such a powerful opportunity to make change in New Zealand. And we're Team New Zealand, Team 5 million. We know that. We know what we're capable of. And for us, I'm speaking on behalf of anyone in the space we're in, sustainability and wanting to make positive, sustainable change. We need you to vote and get out there and ask for it and demand it. And also, if you're in a position to have some influence over local government or even further up the chain, push all the time. We've just seen Germany's banning single-use items in the food service industry from next year. Wow. Western Australia is doing the same. We're lagging behind, and there's no reason for it. So yeah. But I will get down off my little pedestal now, because thank you for the opportunity.
Honestly, I love that answer though, because it's so doable. It's honestly so doable for everyone listening, that if you go have a favorite cafe, yet they're not offering up options and not being sustainable and not leading in that way, voice it. It doesn't actually cost a cent to just be like, hey guys, can you, is this an option? This is really important to me. And that is something that we can all do listening. So great answer and incredible podcast overall. There's so much goodness in there, Steph, and just inspiring too. You've got a mission in life and you're running after it, and it's just all over you. Just that sense of purpose and passion for what you do. So we are so supporting you in everything that you, Nick, and the team are doing, and hope those listening are inspired to support you as well. So thanks for being on the podcast today.
Oh, thank you, Bryar. I'm really stoked to have had the opportunity. It's been a while since I've had an opportunity to say as much as this, and to reflect back on Icehouse as well, and to share that. So it's left me with a lovely, warm, fuzzy feeling for the afternoon. And thank you. And it's been lovely to meet you too. And I look forward to seeing you in person soon.